The Hudson Library and Historical Society presents the final event of the 4th Annual Ohio Author Book Fair Week. The Ohio Author Book Fair. A gathering of over 36 authors, all of whom you'll meet in this program. Held on July 19, 2014, with the adult authors in the library's Flood Meeting Room and the teen and children's authors in the library's spectacular Rotunda.
I'm Sophie Kalis, and I'm from Brecksville. I am an author and illustrator and also teach art in Brecksville. I am especially interested in nature illustration, so you can see the first book that I wrote and illustrated and that was published was Beaver Tales, which I created in cooperation with the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. It tells the story of the Cuyahoga Valley Beaver Marsh through the eyes of a young beaver named Albert. So here you can find the adventures of Albert as he discovers a little bit about the story of the place where he lives. And right over here I have some of the originals that I painted on site. Actually, these were not painted. This was probably painted on site, not this one, for the book. And it was a really interesting and fun project to work on. This book is currently out of print, but I have plans to self-publish it and have it back in the park bookstore. The other book that I have here was one that I illustrated, was written by someone else, Abby Sasser, and it is very different, also about an animal, but one that has too much stuff, and that's Sophie, the totally coincidental title. So Sophie the bunny has too much stuff, and she needs to learn how to share and give some of it away and declutter. So it's kind of appropriate for all of us, though it's especially geared towards young girls, as you can see. And I just finished illustrating a book for the Cleveland Museum of Art, another picture book which is about a butterfly that tours the museum and comes across all different sorts of art in her search for her grandmother, who is in another still life in the museum. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Meyer, and I am the author of 4 historical fiction novels for young readers. They are, you want to know about me first. So I live in Central Ohio, and I have been writing books since 2010. I had my first book published. And I've gone to some of the local Ohio book fairs. And this is the first time for the Hudson Book Fair, and I'm very impressed with your town and your beautiful library. I hope I have time to walk around a little bit afterward. About my books. They are all set in the pioneer period of Ohio's history. And that is a fascinating period. They are historical fiction, which means that I take a main character that I make up and have him interact with actual characters in Ohio history, such as Tecumseh and Simon Kenton, and several others in the later books. These events also are timed. The first two books are written to be in 1780, and the character comes down with his family from the East Coast. He goes up through Pennsylvania in his Conestoga style wagon, and they buy a flatboat in Fort Pitt and float down the Ohio River. However, before they get to their destination, their son and a friend are kidnapped by a group of Shawnee Indians. They take these boys to their main town, Chillicothe, and they have 4 months where they learn how to be Indians, and they're adopted into an Indian family, and they actually come to love their Indian parents. But Simon Kenton and the army of Kentuckians comes to rescue them. Well, actually, they're coming to attack the town. The rescue is just something that happens at the same time. And so these events, the Battle of Piqua, is the battle where they escape from their captors and get back to the place which they had never been to, which was actually on the Kentucky side. It's limestone, and it is now Maysville, Kentucky. And every year they have a Simon Kenton festival in Maysville, Kentucky, because Simon Kenton is a favorite son there. And Simon Kenton interacts with my characters quite a bit. He is a very interesting person, and he ought to be more well known in Ohio. I visit schools and I ask the children whether they've ever heard of Simon Kenton, and many of them have not. A few have, but he is a very interesting character, so I was glad to write him up in my books. The second two books are about Marietta. Marietta is the first permanent settlement in the Northwest Territory. The Northwest Territory comprises, I think, about 6 states, and Ohio, I think, was the first one to become a state. But Marietta was settled in 1788, and Ohio didn't become a state until 1803. So these books follow 2 different girls and the things that happened to them in early Marietta. I don't want to give away too much, but one of them is captured by Indians, and the other one has to get lost and found again. But the adventures that they have are typical of some of the adventures that the early settlers faced. They had to do a lot of their own food making and making their own soap and making their own toys. So I bring along lots of Pioneer toys when I visit schools. But I enjoy learning about history, and my main purpose in writing these books is so children would get to know history from an early age and start wanting to learn more. The person who most inspired me to write in this area is a well-known writer, Alan Eckert. He's the late Alan Eckert. He didn't die that long ago, maybe last year or the year before. But he has, I think, 40 books on history, and he is an excellent writer. He makes you feel like you're right there. And so I can only aspire to be as good as he is. But I would encourage young people to get interested in history at an early age.
Okay, hi. My name is Barry Gott. I'm a children's book illustrator. I live in Cleveland, and I've been illustrating children's books for about 14 years now. The books that I have here today are all from a series of books written by Lisa Wheeler of dinosaurs playing sports. There's dino hockey, dino football, dino basketball, dino wrestling, which has just come out this past year, and dino baseball as well. And all of these books are the plant-eating dinosaurs versus the meat-eating dinosaurs. And I'm never sure who's going to win until I get to the end of the book. She mixes it up quite a bit. And I've been having a great lot of fun illustrating these and learning a lot about both dinosaurs and sports, because I had to do some research before I started illustrating these. So I hope you guys like them too. Thank you very much.
I'm Larry Homan. I'm from Olmsted Falls, which is kind of southwest of Cleveland, right next to the city of Berea, home of the Cleveland Browns. I think a lot of people know them more than they know me, that's for sure. But I'm very happy to be here in Hudson. I found out just today that this is the fourth book fair that they've had. It was the first one that I've known about. I wish I knew about the first three. I would have tried to have been here if I could. But I'm real glad to be here today. And I wanted, in talking about my books, I have 6 children's books, and it all kind of started out not as a plan to have 6. Years ago, in the very early years of the Hinckley Buzzard days, my wife and I took our 4 daughters out there to see the buzzards, and after that we went into the center of Hinckley to have a pancake and sausage breakfast. And while we were there, we were kind of standing in line in the hallway, and I noticed all the children's crayon drawings. They had them tacked up on the walls. They were all very charming and colorful, and I remember mentioning to my wife, I says, I didn't see any adult or realistic versions of it. And I said, maybe I'll do that. I'm a commercial artist. I went to the Institute of Art in Cleveland. And so I thought I maybe would do that. Well, it took a few years before I had time. I had my own commercial art studio, and I had a little bit of off time. And so I decided to do the Hinckley Buzzard, a realistic drawing, and thinking that I might market it in Hinckley or something. But after I drew it, I kind of changed my mind about that and decided, well, maybe I'll try another bird. And I think I did the W, the woodpecker, and that then came to my mind, well, maybe I should try and do the whole alphabet. So that's how the alphabetical thing started, and I did probably 5 or 6 or so in the years before I retired, which was 1996, and I didn't do anything for a while after that. But in 2002, visiting some friends of ours up in the mountains west of Phoenix, they took us to their Western Art Museum, and seeing the art there made me realize that, geez, here I am sitting doing nothing, and all this wonderful art that can be done and worked on. And so when we came home from that trip, which was in early 2002, I decided to get on the rest of the alphabet, and I think I had only done I think 7 of them, so I had about 19 of them to do. So I worked real hard on it at 2002 and was able to finish it by the fall, and went to a local publisher and got an idea of what costs would be. And I thought, well, I wasn't sure if I was going to really produce it or not, but I went to our local nature center in Rocky River and asked if they'd be interested in displaying the whole exhibit, and they said they would. And while I was there, their librarian thought that I should put them in the book. So that's after she said that, I thought, well, maybe I will. So I printed that book, and it went very well, better than I thought it was going to go, but maybe not as good as I thought it was going to go for the future, because I then doubled the printing numbers of books, and I wish I hadn't, but I did. And then it was so much fun that I thought I'd try the Beast book, because of the way I designed the front cover. It would work that way with the letter B. And after I did that, then the next thing came to mind. My wife started the Olmsted Falls Garden Club, and she was pushing me to do flowers and all, and so that's why I did the botanical. And then the butterfly came the year after. Actually, the bird book was in 2003. 1 year later, I did the beast book, and then in 2006 was the botanical book, and then in 2008 was the butterfly book, 2010 was the breed book, and then just last October, late 2013, was the final book that I did, Alphabetical Bugs in Color. I know that there's one more book that could be done, but at my age I don't know if I want to do it. It would be Alphabetical Buildings in Color, which would feature all of the great buildings of the world, either that were odd looking or had great history, like F for Falling Water or T for Taj Mahal, that kind of a thing. And my publisher down in Granville thought that that would be a good book to do. So it's out there, and maybe one of these days I might get the nerve to try and start doing that. But other than that, I'm just happy to have had the 6 books. But as I said, the whole idea came in the side door. Really, it wasn't a thought in the very beginning. One thing just evolved into the whole situation. So I'm just very pleased to be here to see if the people here would enjoy having them, and I thank you again for inviting me to the Hudson Book Fair.
Hi, my name's Paul Orshowski. I'm from Sandusky, Ohio. I'm a retired teacher, coach, and school administrator, and I write beginning reader books for children with a company called Treasure Bay Books out of San Francisco. And I also write poems that sometimes get published in books published by Meadowbrook Press through their poetry anthologies. I have 4 books here today. This one is The Mouse in My House, which is one of the beginning reader books, which is about a mouse that is just driving a family crazy, and they're trying to get rid of the mouse, and it takes them the whole book to get rid of it, and then when they finally do, the mouse returns to create more havoc. My Sitter is a T-Rex is about a babysitter that happens to be a dinosaur. Who Took the Cookbook is about a school cook, and her food is usually very good, but she loses her cookbook, and her cookbook is missing, creates terrible food instead of her typically good food. And the poetry anthology, My Teacher's in Detention, is a book of school poems. So that's a little bit about what I do, and enjoy doing it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Ward, a children's book author and illustrator, and I work in cut paper and mixed media. I live in Lakewood, Ohio, just outside Cleveland, and these are both my most recent books. Blue, about a little bluebird that lives in Central Park in New York, and this one, Please Bring Balloons, is about a little girl named Emma who finds a carousel that actually comes to life, and they have an adventure on the North Pole. Most of my books tend to be kind of set with a magical realism feel to them. And I've been doing this for about 6 or 7 years now, and working on some new books in the future too. So yeah, thanks.
Hi, my name's Tish Dalby, and I'm from Hudson, Ohio, and I'm the author of the book Pinklejinks. Pinklejinks is a story about a little girl who has a wish to become a birthday fairy, and every day that she makes that wish, she awakens and she's still her same old self. One day something a little different happens, and that's what the story's about. The book is ideal for children ages 4 to 10, and this is my first book. Thank you. As a Hudson resident, I'm pleased to be able to be a part of the Ohio Authors Visit here at the Hudson Library. And the story it comes to life because it's about my 4 children. It's told through their eyes, so it brings it all back together for me in this town.
Hi, I'm Linda Ash, and I live in Hudson, and I have a few books out, and this book is Rose of Porklund, a fairy tale, and it's young adult fantasy, and a young girl who kind of slips into another world and finds out that that's where her grandmother was from, and some adventures that she has there. And this is My 12th Christmas, and it's about a young girl who visits her great aunt at Christmas time, and it involves a sleigh and snow and presents and a big secret, and it actually was on Amazon's #1 once a couple of years ago for children's Christmas ebooks, and they're all available also as ebooks, and the Hudson Library is my favorite place in Hudson. So, and thank you.
Oh, yes, but not unrealistic. She's totally out. And I don't expect the people in the city don't have water. People.
I'm Mindy McGinnis. My book is Not a Drop to Drink, which is a post-apocalyptic survival story about a girl that lives in Ohio, and it is set about 30 years in the future. The idea is that there is a lack of fresh water, and that people that live in the cities are emptying out. People that live in the country that have ponds or hand-dug wells have access to water. So she has to defend her pond violently. And she has to learn over the course of the book what the difference is between living and surviving. And it is a Choose to Read Ohio title, and it's nominated for the Ohio Anna Book Award. I also have a movie deal with Stephanie Meyer, the author of Twilight, has a production company. She bought rights about 6 months ago. There is a follow-up novel called In a Handful of Dust that we'll be releasing September 23rd. And I am from Marl County, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Natalie Richards. I am from Central Ohio. I've lived here my whole life. My debut book, 6 Months Later, is about a girl who falls asleep in study hall. She wakes up 6 months later. She wasn't really asleep, but she can't remember anything that happened. Her life is suddenly perfect, but as she kind of looks into it, it's really not. There are a lot of sinister things going on, and she has to find out why she forgot and what happened to her. The book has been a Barnes & Noble top teen pick. It also is currently nominated for a Young Adult Library Services Association, YALSA. It's a Teens Top 10 nominee for this year. So that's it for me.
I'm Jody Casella. This is my first novel, Thin Space. It's a young adult novel. It's the 6th book I've written and the first to be published. And it's about a boy who lost his brother in a car accident, and he's heard about the Celtic belief in thin spaces, where the wall between our world and the other world is thinner. And he is on a quest to find one so he can see his brother again. I'm from Columbus, and I'm really happy to be here today.
My name's Kevin Keating, and my book is called The Natural Order of Things, and it has a kind of peculiar history. I was with a tiny press out of New Orleans called Aqueous Books, and somehow, some way, the book was discovered by the Los Angeles Times and became a finalist for Best Book of the Year by a first-time novelist. From there, I got a 2-book deal with Random House, and it's just been re-released as a vintage paperback, available at finer bookstores everywhere. And it takes place in a dying industrial city in the Midwest and concerns the adventures of a young man. He plays for a high school football team. He's the star quarterback, and he intentionally throws the big game of the season. And the book from there is all about the consequences of that decision on his friends, his family, his teachers at the school where he attends. It's a Jesuit prep school. And I like to think of it as a dark comedy. I tell people if they're not laughing by chapter 2, it may not be the book for them. There's a lot of humor in it, though, a lot of pathos, and I know, pretty decent read. Hopefully people will respond well to it. Received a starred review in Publishers Weekly and a starred review from Booklist.
Hi, I'm Jyotsna Srinivasan, and my book is called And Laughter Fell from the Sky. It's a novel for adults. It's about two 20-something Indian Americans. Their parents are from India, but they've grown up here, and in fact they've grown up in northeastern Ohio. Part of the book takes place in Kent, Ohio. There's parts in Cleveland, parts in Akron, and then parts of it takes place in Portland, Oregon, and in India. So I think people who enjoy romance or contemporary multicultural books might enjoy this book. I live in Columbus, Ohio right now, although I grew up in northeastern Ohio. I went to Kent State University, and part of this book takes place at Kent State, actually.
My name is Russell Miner. I'm from Lakemore, Ohio. I've written a book called The Mirror of Freedom, which is a young adult Christian fantasy about a young neglected boy that gets enticed into a new mystical land. And I had written this book originally as a short story, and after being persuaded by quite a few friends, I developed it into a novel. It's published by Tate Publishing.
Hi, I'm Kevin Kern. I teach history at the University of Akron, and a colleague of mine and I have wrote this book, Ohio History of the Buckeye State, which is the first comprehensive single-volume history of Ohio written in about a generation. And although we can use it for our history classes, it is intended for a general audience, anyone who's interested in Ohio history. Ohio, as a state, has a history that is unusually rich, and in many ways is a microcosm of the history of the United States as a whole. In many ways, Ohio really was the heart of it all, and Ohio, as we demonstrate in the book, is a state which in many ways is a guinea pig for the whole nation. It was the birth of the public land system in the United States. Some of the earliest examples of the westward expansion had their precedent set in Ohio. And then later on, during the industrial era, Ohio was a leader throughout the Civil War. So we try to talk about the social, the economic, and the political importance of Ohio throughout its very, very colorful past.
Hi, I'm Carolyn McRory. I write Jane Austen-inspired literature. Essentially, I jump into Jane Austen's beloved Pride and Prejudice at various points in the canon book, and I like to manipulate the characters and make them do stuff that they haven't done before, and that way the path to happily ever after is a little bit different. My most recent release is Haunting Mr. Darcy, and that is got a little bit of a supernatural feel to it in that I actually make Elizabeth, there's an accident, and Elizabeth has a little bit of a upset, and so she's a ghost for some of the time, but it's a fun little twist on fate, and there's always a happily ever after in it, and so I'm pleased to be here. I'm from just south of Akron in Greene, and this is my first time at the Author's Day. So.
Hi, my name is Alan Dutka. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I've written a series of books about the city. Some of them about the old days. Short Vincent is a book about the good times in the 1940s and 1950s in the Cleveland area, where this was one of the liveliest streets in the city. Over here is a story about East 4th Street, which today is one of the liveliest streets in the downtown area. So I got interested in doing stories about the Cleveland area when I retired from business, and my wife told me I really had to figure out something to do with myself because I couldn't be bothering her all day.
Hey there, my name is Marty Gitlin. I'm an author from Northeast Ohio. I went to Brush High School, live in North Olmsted right now. My claim to fame is the Great American Cereal Book, right here. And it's been featured in the New York Times, Time Magazine, Wall Street Journal, Reader's Digest, all over the country. It's really, really a fun book. And every cereal ever made is in this book. There's about 800 of them all told. And there's 350 images of cereal boxes, memorabilia, old cereal ads, toys that used to come out of cereal, and it's just really, really a fun book. It's been a huge success. I've been interviewed by the BBC in London and all over the country, WGN in Chicago, Akron Beacon Journal. So it's been a great ride. I've been pleasantly surprised at how much it's been accepted. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Irv Corman is my name. I live in Fairlawn, Ohio, and for 30 years I was lucky enough to write freelance entertainment stories for several daily, weekly, and monthly publications, and I got to meet famous people, and I compiled 50 of them into 2 volumes. I was Jerry Lewis's bodyguard for 10 minutes, and I was Jackie Mason's chauffeur for 5 minutes. And it chronicles the Met from 1978 to last April. So I hope you enjoy the books. Each chapter is a different person, so you don't have to read the chapter before. You can put the book down for a while, pick it up, and each chapter is a different person. And it's very enjoyable. I had fun meeting these people, and I hope you enjoy meeting them also. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Jane Ann Terzillo, and I am from Akron, and I am the author of Wicked Women of Northeast Ohio and Murder and Mayhem on Ohio's Rails. Wicked Women is about 10 women from Northeast Ohio who did not play by the rules. 8 were murderesses. 1 was a madam, probably the longest running madam in the state of Ohio. And the last one is from, she was from Akron, and she was a gangster's girlfriend. Murder and Mayhem is about 10 train robberies from Ohio. The first peacetime train robbery was in Ohio, and the last great train robbery was in Ohio in Garrettsville, and that was one of the Barker gang, or used to be in the Barker gang, and his name was Alvin Karpus. And the first train robbery was down around North Bend, close to Cincinnati.
Hi, I'm Deb Lape. I'm the author of Looking for Lizzie. It's a true story of an Ohio madam, her sporting life, and hidden legacy. And it's nice to be here in Hudson, Ohio. We're having a great day at the Ohio Authors Fair. And this book is about my great-great-grandmother, who my grandmother confessed was a madam to us when I was age 19. We did a little research. I did a lot of research over the last 40 years and have had such a great time exploring Ohio with Lizzie's story. And I hope you get a chance to read it. It's a great day here in Hudson.
Hi, I'm Robin Yoakum, and I live in Westerville, Ohio. I'm a native of Brilliant, Ohio, over on the river. I'm here today with 2 of my novels. The most recent is The Essay, which is set in Vinton County, Ohio, and is the story of a 17-year-old wrong side of the tracks kid who wins an essay contest and no one believes him. My previous novel, Favorite Sons, is set over on the river near Steubenville, where I grew up, and is the story of 4 teenage boys who somewhat accidentally kill another kid and then conspire to keep it a secret.
We were talking
Hello, my name is Susan Bush, and I'm from Peninsula, Ohio, which is very close to Hudson. And I wrote a book called Yearning for Normal, and it's a story of my son's life, and he's right here hoping to collect a lot of royalties. He was born missing part of chromosome 22, which actually has affected every single part of his life. So it's a story of that, and also the story of both of our spiritual journey in coming to grips with them. Deletion chromosome 22 is considered almost as common as Down syndrome. We did not find that that's what he had. The problem is that the manifestations are quite variable among people, and people didn't even know about it. They actually didn't even know about it until 1993, and he was diagnosed when he was like 14, though he had had numerous medical problems. When he was younger, when he was first born, he was in intensive care, and they told me he had heart problems. And then he was failure to thrive, lots of infections. And when he was about 8 months old, he would stop breathing on me. And for about 2 years, we'd have to do CPR on him. And then we had a period of time where he was healthy and things were pretty good. Deletion 22q is the only known genetic cause of psychiatric illness. And so what happened was when he was 22, during a time of very severe depression and psychosis, he set himself on fire. So the book really tells the journey that we've both been through and how we got here today.
Name is Matt Lupica from Macedonia, Ohio. And the book, The Baseball Stadium Insider, is a comprehensive dissection of all 30 ballparks, the legendary players, and the memorable moments. And if you're looking for a book that really takes apart each ballpark, shows you exactly what they are, breaks down every feature, and tells you the whole scoop on it, this is the book you want to get. When I did a report on Roberto Clemente back in 5th grade, that my love for the Pittsburgh Pirates was born, and also for baseball. I always wanted to find a book that dig deep into each ballpark, because each ballpark is unique. You have all of the stadiums in football that are pretty much the same. They're all carbon copies of each other. Basketball, but baseball, they're really separate from everything else. They have their unique features, characteristics, and I think people love that. That's one of the things that people enjoy, going to the ballpark early. They like checking out the ballpark, seeing what's there, and this book helps them do exactly that.
Hi, I'm Bob Adamove. I live in Worcester, Ohio. I write murder mysteries set in Put-in-Bay. It's a series of 8 books. First book, Rainbow's End, deals with the Civil War, then jumps up to a modern mystery. Pierce the Veil is a corporate takeover battle book. When Rainbows Walk is a heist of Mel Fisher's treasure during the eye of Hurricane Charlie. Promised Land is Da Vinci Code meets Hurricane Katrina. It's set in New Orleans and Put-in-Bay. The Other Side of Hell goes from Put-in-Bay to Key West down to the Cayman Islands with drug running, scuba action, and sunken treasure. Then we have Tan Lines. Tan Lines is a bioterrorism mystery on Put-in-Bay. The president pays a visit and he disappears. Sandusky is a cross between National Treasure and Da Vinci Code, a worldwide chase to find the clues to the puzzle, and everything culminates in Put-in-Bay. Then my new book is Zenobia. It deals with human trafficking along the I-75 corridor from Toledo to Naples, Ohio. Part of the proceeds from that book go to the Trafficking Coalition in Toledo, plus Second Chance, a halfway house. The books are written in the style of Clive Cussler, and they're mystery adventure adventures.
Hi, my name's Joyce Sweetie, and I had the pleasure of being here at the book fair. The book I've written is Thelma's Diary, and it's been my real joy because Thelma was such an amazing woman and a part of my life. This is her real words. Her actual diary is here, and I've had the pleasure of doing the prologue and the final chapter. It's been a real joy for me, and if you enjoy history and you enjoy the personal diary of reading someone else's personal diary, you'll really enjoy Thelma's Diary. This is from 1935, so it's full of history, it's full of romance, and it's full of so many interesting stories. One particular one is where she camped in the Sahara Desert for the night, and she talks about having a 7-course dinner, the tent that is carpeted and paintings on the wall, and just one story after another of how she enjoyed this around-the-world cruise in 1935 with her sister Marge.
Hi, I'm Wade Meyer. I'm from Massillon, Ohio, and I'm a math teacher turned cook turned writer. And so if you're looking for something to take to a party, then you need to get a copy of What Shall I Bring? And you're looking at some melt in your mouth kisses, and I don't think the cameraman is going to want a kiss from me, so I'm just going to stop with that, I think, pretty much. How you doing? This is my favorite recipe. This is called Pearls and Nuggets. And National Talk Like a Pirate Day is coming up September 19th. So you can make this with this killer dip, and you can talk like a pirate. Really good. Arrgh.
Hello, I'm Wendy Coyle, and I am from Tuscarawas County, Ohio. I currently have 2 books published. My first book is Geneva on the Lake, and it's the history of Ohio's first summer resort. So it's about an hour from here. If you've never made a trip to Geneva on the Lake, I highly recommend it. Also highly recommend reading all the history of how it became the first summer resort. So this one came out in 2012, and then just recently in January, then I have my second book, which is Legends and Lost Treasures of Northern Ohio. And I was excited to come to Hudson today because right down the road there is a treasure story, and that is in Boston, Ohio. So I'm thinking I'm really close. And actually in Boston, Ohio, there was a gang of counterfeiters. So when they would trade their counterfeit money in, then they would bury it somewhere in the hills around here. So a very fun treasure story right here in your area. So another good fun read for anybody that's interested in local history.
Hi, my name's Rebecca Thomas, Becky Thomas, and I grew up in this area, went to school in the Hudson schools from kindergarten through my senior year, graduated in '71, and I'm back here for this Author's Day, which is great. And I've written a book called The Truth Is, Confessions and Tips from an Elementary School Teacher, and it's actually for anybody that has ever known a teacher, been influenced by a teacher, and there's just a lot of stories in here about crazy things that happened while I was teaching. So it's great to be here, and I also have an academics through music program that I do in-school field trips. I go in and teach children through song, dance, and activities. Right now it's mostly math, so it's good to be back home. Thank you.
Back up, that's good. I'm not doing it.
Hi, my name is Amy Bouquet. I am from Stowe, Ohio. I've been an Ohio resident my whole life. My day job, I am a paralegal. By day, writer by night. Indigo is my first novel. It's a romantic suspense novel with a little bit of time travel thrown in. And I also am working on a sequel and also on another series called Ghosting, which is a paranormal series. This is my first Ohio Author Day, and it's been a great turnout despite the rain. It's nice to see so many other Ohio authors here. It's a really, really great event. Indigo is my first novel. It's
titled romantic suspense, but there's a little bit of time travel, actually a lot of time travel, but it's not sci-fi. It's for anybody that enjoys a good adventure. Think Terminator crossed with Somewhere in Time. It's an adventure ride, and hopefully pick up a copy and enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Julie Zickafus, and I'm an illustrator and author, and I write stories about birds and natural history. And my book, The Bluebird Effect, is illustrated with 350 individual pieces of art, paintings from life of birds, and sketches from life as well. And this book was chosen as Oprah's Book of the Week in April 2012, and it got a great sales boost from that. And it was sold out actually for 2 months, 1 week after it came out. So that was kind of it was a boost that was a little bit difficult because everybody was talking about it and nobody could get it. But it's been a great honor. And the book before it is Letters from Eden, which is similarly illustrated and takes you through the seasons on our farm in Southeast Ohio. It's also profusely illustrated. So that's what I do.
Hi, my name's Amanda Flower, and I'm from Talmadge, Ohio. And I also have another name. I'm also Isabella Allen. I write mostly Amish cozy mysteries under Amanda Flower and Isabella Allen. And I also write books for children, middle grade mysteries. I'm also a librarian. I'm a college librarian. And my most recent book is called Murder Simply Stitched. It's the second in the Amish Quilt Shop mystery series set in Holmes County, Ohio. And it's about a Texas transplant who moves to Ohio to take over her aunt's Amish quilt shop. And she finds a dead body in her stockroom. So now she has to solve the crime so she's not framed for it. And then in the second book, the murder takes place at an Amish auction. And someone is fed a poisoned Amish fry pie. So she also solves that murder. And she has a French bulldog that's afraid of birds. So there's a lot of hilarity and fun in it. All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm a couple different people. I'm Kylie Logan and Casey Daniels, both of whom are from Brecksville, Ohio. As Casey Daniels, I write the Pepper Martin Mystery Series. Pepper works in an old cemetery in Cleveland, and she solves mysteries for the ghosts in her cemetery. As Kylie Logan, I write a few different things. One of them is the Button Box Mysteries, about a lady who owns an antique and vintage button shop. That's because I love buttons. The Chili Cook-Off Mysteries are about a group of people who travel to different chili cook-offs around the country. And the League of Literary Ladies Mysteries. These take place in Put-in-Bay, an area a lot of us know. They are about 4 neighbors who can't stand each other, and they keep taking each other to court. The judge decides if they're going to learn to get along, they have to talk to each other, so he sentences them to be a book discussion group. And each mystery is based on the famous book they're reading. The first book is Mayhem at the Orient Express. Obviously, they're reading Murder on the Orient Express. And the newest book is A Tale of Two Biddies. I'll let you guess what they're reading for that one.
Hello, I am Paul Gauss. I live in Worcester, Ohio, right on the northern fringe of Holmes County's Amish country, and I write a series of novels called the Amish Country Mysteries. There are 8 books in the series now, and the 8th one of them is called The Names of Our Tears. They are murder mysteries set in Holmes County among the Amish communities there, and the purpose of the stories is to illuminate Amish culture and religion in a context of a mystery investigation. I started writing about 20 years ago, and my first career was as a college professor. Actually, I taught for 31 years at the College of Worcester. And now I've retired from that, and I devote myself to writing. Anyway, they are the Amish Country Mysteries.
Yeah, right, but it's right before Green Road. Right before Green Road.
Hi, my name is Julie Mitchell, and I'm from Solon, Ohio. I'm happy to be here today at Hudson Library. I have 2 books that I've written. This first book is 365 Days of Hope. It's a daily devotional, and each day there's a scripture reading and some words of encouragement. And each month has a different theme, but the overall theme of the book is hope. Everyone needs a little encouragement, so it's a great gift, and it's a wonderful book. The second book that I've written is Praying Through the Psalms. I started with the Psalm 1, and there's a scripture reading from the Psalms each day, and there's a prayer written. Afterwards, there's some questions for you to think about, and a place for you to write your own thoughts or ideas or prayers or prayer requests. Over 11 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, and it was a difficult time, and I felt like I needed to reach out to others to find encouragement and hope. And so throughout that time and that period, I've decided to begin my writing career and encourage others who are going through difficult times, and I think both of these books would be encouraging for you. My real job is I am a tennis pro. I teach tennis at the Chagrin Valley Hunt Club in Gates Mills and at Beachmont Country Club in Pepper Pike, and I coach high school tennis at Orange High School. Thanks so much. Bye.
Hi, I'm George Anderson. My pen name is GT Anders. I'm from Kent. Grew up in Stowe, so I'm from the area. I was really into C.S. Lewis as a kid, and I really loved the Space Trilogy. I just loved the way that he had angels and spiritual beings interacting with people in modern society, and I wanted more of it. So this is not by any means a spin-off, but it could be in the same genre. Basically, in the Tower of Babel, they're building a gigantic skyscraper, the hugest skyscraper ever. And there's a group of people out in the countryside who live at an old church, and they don't like this. They don't like anything it stands for, anything it symbolizes, and they want to see it come down. That's the gist of the Tower of Babel. And this, A Chair Between the Rails, this is the prequel. It talks more about the father of the main character of the other book, and sort of shows how things got to be in the state that they are in the Tower of Babel. These are both about a year or two old now, and I'm really more excited about my next project. It's called The Year of Perfect Sight, and it involves the internet being available directly in vision, sort of like Google Glass, but way beyond that. It's actually biological implants in the brain, and boy, that sounds like a great idea in some ways and maybe a terrible idea in other ways. I'm a little worried about the direction technology is going in, and that's really where the passion for my new novel comes from. So I hope you'll look for it in the future. Again, I'm GT Anders, and the new book that's going to be coming out is called The Year of Perfect Sight. Thank you.
I'm Karen Schubert, and I'm from Youngstown. I'm so excited to be here today. This is a really wonderful event. What a beautiful library. So my book is a book of prose poems. It's poetry that won the Wick Poetry Center chapbook competition for 2013. And it's little stories. So for example, I have a friend who sells art on Etsy, and so I was looking around on Etsy one day and I saw a picture of the Wire Man, and I started wondering what his life was like and what would happen if he fell in love, and what would happen if he fell in love with the boiled wool woman. How would that be? And just different stories like that. So just really thankful for being here. What a great environment and so much creativity, and I think the arts are well supported in Ohio.
Hi, I'm Linda Schaefer. I am a sales associate at the Learned Owl Bookshop here in Hudson. We are very happy to be here with the Ohio Authors Day. A lot of great authors here, and we're happy to be able to sell some of these books not only here today, but also at the bookshop. So if you were not able to come today, please come on down to the bookshop. We're there Monday through Saturday until 7 p.m. and noon to 5 on Sunday. So come on in and meet some of these great writers. Thanks so much.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Sean Du Bois Day. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. This is my debut novel. It's entitled Tales from the Joint. The novel takes place inside of Lucasville, which is one of Ohio's most notorious prisons. The main character, Joshua, is in and out of prison all his life. He ends up catching a murder case, thus giving him a life sentence. After 45 years in prison, Joshua was finally about to get a parole. These three youths who have caught a murder-robbery case end up going to the same penitentiary that Joshua's in. And they conspire to rob Joshua's cell. He's accumulated so many things during the course of his 45-year stay that this seems to be a good score. They go into his cell. Joshua forgets his ID on his way to lunch, thus unexpectedly surprises them in the act of stealing his things. In prison, such transgressions are instant recipes for death. However, Joshua sits the guys down. He tells them 6 horror stories about some things that have happened during the course of his 45 stay in prison, and then he puts a sentence upon his 3 intruders, where from there there's no respite from that. Now, at the same time, Joshua, from the beginning, in and out of jail, his mother, every time he'd come out, she'd catch a rare disease. And every time he'd go back into jail, she'd miraculously heal. And most times she'd be on the brink of her deathbed when he'd end up doing something stupid. So after him doing 45 years, she's 96 years old, she's still alive, a perfect bill of health, and when she finds out he's about to get a parole, she ends up getting ill again. At the same time, when these 3 guys come into Joshua's cell, she ends up getting better. So the ending is there for you to read, and I thank everybody.
Hi, my name is Chris Rudy. I'm from Canton, Ohio. I am the author of The Last Victim. I was a police officer for 30 years in Jackson Township in Stark County, and the highlight of my career was capturing William Edward Griffith Jr. William is the most prolific serial rapist in the history of Northeast Ohio. He amassed 60 victims from 1980 to 1988. On the back of the book there is a tennis shoe print, and that is how I caught Bill. The shoe was located at his wife's residence. After I had gone to interview her, she had thrown him out of the house because she had found a strange pair of women's panties in the laundry, and the tennis shoe prints matched up perfectly, and it began a 4-month chase across the United States until Bill was apprehended selling used cars in Phoenix, Arizona. Bill primarily struck in Stark, Summit, Portage, and Miami counties in Ohio. I am still in law enforcement and work as a criminal investigator in the state of Ohio.
That's right. That's true. Yeah, that's very good. That's where you need a degree. Okay, thank you. Good luck. Thank you very much. For every word you mispronounce, you're going to do a shot of tennis. Okay.
My name is Charles Cassidy, Jr., I'm currently a resident of Seven Hills in Cuyahoga County. You've caught me without a Ouija board, unfortunately. I would have brought one if I'd known I'd be on television, but after about 18, 20 years of being a film critic, I somehow got tapped to write about the paranormal and ghost stories and very strange tales and unusual urban legends and folklore. So I started my solo series with the lovely Cleveland Ghosts, still possibly the only book devoted uniquely to ghost stories of the esteemed town of Cleveland, Ohio, best known for LeBron James. Then followed up with Paranormal Great Lakes, your first A to Z reference guide of anything strange, unnatural, and bizarre and otherworldly that could befall you on the Great Lakes. If you're attacked by a lake monster, I probably have his name in here. You can furnish the information to the Coast Guard and it will make reporting a lot easier. I did the same for the Mississippi River and Paranormal Mississippi River. This book will teach you how to repel werewolves and witches with common kitchen utensils, and also denotes the difference between hoodoo and voodoo. And finally, Great Lakes Folklore, my most recent and most physically beautiful book, because I didn't do the cover, is just a collection of wonderful historical stories of the Great Lakes, including rogue submarine inventors and why Oliver Hazard Perry was the real-life Captain Kirk, at least in my book.
Hi, my name is Sam Thomas. I live up in Shaker Heights, Ohio, and teach history at university school. When I'm not teaching history, I'm writing historical fiction. I've got a series of books, 2 books out so far, about a crime-solving midwife in 17th century York. The first one is called The Midwife's Tale, and it is set in the city of York during the English Civil War between Parliament and King. One of the things that makes this the book kind of interesting, I think, is that the main character is actually based on a real midwife who I came across during my previous life as a historian. And so when I quit higher ed to teach high school, I thought I ought to bring the midwife along and put her at the center of this fiction. So it's a lot of fun. First book is, again, The Midwife's Tale. The second one is called The Harlot's Tale. And the third one will be out in January, called The Witch Hunter's Tale. Thanks a lot.
Hey, my name is Michael Garriga. I'm from Biloxi, Mississippi, and currently I'm teaching at Baldwin Wallace University, and I'm here promoting the Book of Duels, which is a book of 33 short stories. Each story consists of 3 different monologues rendered at the ultimate moment of conflict, and so some of them are, traditional Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr type duels, and some are games of chess or drinking matches or a cockfight or a bullfight. Yeah, I did not start off being a writer. I started off my college education. I was an anthropology major, and I studied the blues, the anthropology of the blues. So I spent a lot of time in the Mississippi Delta, going to blues like juke joints and drinking moonshine and listening to the blues. And I met an author named Barry Hannah there, and Barry Hannah introduced me to different writers like William Faulkner and Shelby Foote and Larry Brown. And when I was about 27 years old, became really interested in writing. And so I went to Florida State University and studied writing with a guy who's actually from Cleveland, Mark Weingartner. And Weingartner became my rabbi, he called it. He was my main man. And through him, I sort of was introduced to Cleveland. And what's been great about Cleveland, the Cleveland area, the Rust Belt area, is it's dispelled every rumor I ever heard growing up in Mississippi about the area. Good, solid, decent people, good food, lots of good beer, and a Metro Park system that's outrageous. And I published this book I actually wrote the book rather before I moved here, and it just came out last year. And people in and around Baldwin Wallace have been really good to me in the reception of the book. And I don't know what else to say.
All of our books are doing great. The first book says
But yeah, we're going into 6th grade, and then I guess I'm excited. School. But I actually want to go back to school because summer's getting. I get sometimes bored in summer.
I understand what you mean. I know.
Go.
Oh, hi, I'm Lauren Nighthouse, and this is my sister,
Alyssa.
And we just came here, and I got a book, and I got it signed from the author. 3 years ago, we didn't live here, and we used to live in Holland. Well, it's not that different, but I still read a lot, and just, yeah.
You read? She reads like at least 3 books a week or something. She's like, we sometimes tell her she can't read because she always we want to talk with her and then she reads, so.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite with my sister here.
Yeah. Well, I do like reading when I get into it.
Yes, but can I tell them how much?
No.
Oh, okay, maybe.
But I just started Divergent
Yes.
and I really like it, so.
So if she doesn't like the book that much, she does not read, like literally.
Yes.
What book did you get today?
I got the book. I don't really know this one.
Say the name.
And it's The Rose of. I can't really say it. It's just a hard name. And well, it's kind of like a fairy tale, and that's my favorite kind of book. So
I like realistic fiction. Just
yes.
No.
Kind of opposite.
But she reads really advanced books. I don't know if you know what Freakonomics is, but she read that and.
Well, I'm reading her. Alyssa, she's more into easier books. Let's just say it like that.
As long as she's enjoying it.
Yeah, as long as she likes the book.
So tell us, do you read some that are all books that are English, or some in your?
I bought all my books from Holland here too, and I read those sometimes just so I don't forget Dutch.
Did it take you long to learn English?
Well, a few months.
But I never really read Dutch anymore. Good Dutch books. I just read English books because I get so confused.
No,
I mean, I can speak Dutch actually pretty well.
Really?
But I can understand it really well, but I can't read it that well. Yeah. And I don't know how to read it that well anymore, so.
Yeah. So.
Maybe you'll pick it up again later.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy the day today?
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to Hudson.
Bye. Enjoy. Yeah.
Oh, really?
All right, my name's Jen France. I work at the Learn It Out Bookshop on North Main Street, and I'm here today at the Hudson Library's Ohio Booksellers Book Fair. And kids have been coming up today and buying especially a lot of the young adult novels over here, especially Not a Drop to Drink by Mindy McGinnis, and also Lindsay Ward's been fairly popular too. She's from Peninsula, so we've had a lot of local authors here, and they're all very interesting people, so it's been a pretty successful day.
Thanks to the management and staff of the Hudson Library and Historical Society for their assistance in the production of this program and for sponsoring the 4th Annual Ohio Author Book Fair. Production facilities for this program were provided by Hudson Cable Television, your window to the community. If you have comments or questions on this or any HCTV program, please leave us an email message at hctv@hudson.oh.us or call us at 330-653-2500. We'd love to hear from you.